a middle school. It's not an elementary.
Good evening and welcome to Foxborough's Conservation Commission meeting of June 9th, 2025 in the Gala Meeting Room, Town Hall. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxboro Cable Access. Therefore, I'll open the meeting. Do we have any public comments at this time? Diana, do you have the 9 Windsor Drive,
Well,
the parcel?
you want to introduce Catherine is here
Oh,
tonight
okay.
because
I didn't even see you sneak in, Samantha. I'm sorry. Our consultant for this evening, how is that?
That's right, yes. Hi.
Is that right?
For those who don't know me, I'm Catherine Fierick. I'm the Director of Land Use and Economic Development. Just letting you all know, though I'm sure most of you are already aware, that Nadia has left the town of Foxborough, so we are in the middle of our hunt for a new conservation agent. In the meantime, I am available if you have any questions or if you need me to take a look at anything, with a layman's eye, of course, but I do have the time, so reach out.
Thank you. And now before Chestnut Street, do you have that partial?
for Windsor Drive. So
Windsor Drive,
Yeah,
that's-
Windsor Drive, this goes back to the 80s. They're selling the property, so they need this to clear the title so that they can finish their sale.
And I think that was even before my time.
Yeah, it's from 1987. Five Daughters Realty Trust. So if you want to make a motion for a partial certification, because this is one of those where it's the whole subdivision, so this is just Lot 5, otherwise known as 9 Windsor Drive.
Somebody want to make a motion to issue a partial?
Just one question.
Yeah.
Is there additional lots there that haven't been released? We don't know.
I'd have to go and look through the registry records to figure it out. We've done 2 or 3 of them in the past few years. Generally, they come up as the people sell, so must have been some really long-term
Okay.
people living here.
Windsor Drive? That's up almost at the Mansfield Town line,
It's Windsor Drive and Abbey Lane
Oh, okay.
off of East Street.
beyond Barbados, on the same side, beyond Barbados. It circles back, and their back portion almost touches the back end of Barbados. So that's been there since forever. So somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we issue a partial certificate of compliance for 9 Windsor Drive, DEP 157-137.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right, get that paperwork out of the way. And being 7:05, we have a,
Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetland Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetland Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public hearing on Monday, June 9th, 2025, at 7:05 p.m. in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, or via Zoom, on a notice of intent filed by Jake Development for the construction of a 2-family home with associated grading and utilities at 147 Chestnut Street, Assessors Map 68, Parcel 26. Portions of the proposed work lie within 100 feet of a resource area. The application is available for public inspection in the Conservation Office at Town Hall. This notice can also be found on the Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website.
thank you, Mr. Buckley.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I'm here representing the applicant. This is for a notice of intent at 147 Chestnut Street, and just to orient you, maybe if you could take a look up here on the screen. So right across the street here, this is Fox Lane. So if you take, coming in off of Mechanic Street, taking a right onto Chestnut Street, the lights, this is the second, the entrance is going to be across. Over here to the north, the upper part of the building, these are those apartment buildings. Again, you're coming in off Mechanic Street, you go past the cemetery, I think there's one house, and then there's all the apartment buildings. I forget the name of it now, they changed their name. So this would be right on the edge of it. This is the driveway that comes in the back. If you kept going, there's another 2 more apartment buildings over here on the bottom as we're looking at this plan, and then you would take the rear entrance to the Ahern School. So the commission saw this last year. It was, we came before you for a abbreviated notice of resource area delineation in the wetlands in the back there. On this plan, it shows it as like a light green. There is a bordering vegetated wetland in the rear, and it bumps up against, this all goes up against the Ahern School parking lot. We've recently gone through the planning board and in order to create this lot. So this is technically a subdivision. It's really not. The planning board has approved, and you've seen them. Some of them have come before you. This is really a road, a roadway layout, and then this lot is being created out of it. The roadway will not be built. It's going to be a 12-foot driveway, which is like what everybody's driveway is. It's a 12-foot driveway, so that's what you see in the darker gray there. It comes in to the rear, it comes in behind our neighbors, Ladani's, over there at 149 Chestnut Street, which is this house right here. So you can see the light green. This is it's kind of a tail that goes off in that direction, and the reason for that tail is some wetlands more to the down and to the left that it doesn't show on this drawing, and there's that's where some of the parking lot drainage goes in. We're proposing the construction of one building. It's going to be a duplex, and as you can see it, the driveway comes in, splits out, and accesses the 2 duplexes. This heavy red line, this dashed line, on your plan, it's orange, the paper copy we submitted, but here it's red. This is the 100-foot buffer zone. This is the 25-foot no-touch zone within the town regulations. So the lot itself, for the most part, except for this little corner here, is outside of the 25-foot no-touch zone. All the proposed work will be outside of the 25-foot no-touch zone. We'll be altering about 9,700 square feet of buffer zone within between the 100-foot buffer zone of the BVW. At its closest point, the home will be about 67 feet from the BVW, and the closest alteration would be about 30 feet at its closest point. And that would be some grading down in this area here. So you can see the 25-foot, and then this kind of purplish line, that's the grading, and we'll be grading right up to it. We're protecting the wetland resource areas from sediment by a silt sock barrier, and that's up in if you have your plan set open, it's in the upper left corner. It's a silt sock that you've seen many times before. It's mulch filled, it's not hay bales, it's not straw. It's a mulch filled silt sock. And that will be this on the plan on the screen there, it's a blue line, and actually on your plan set, it's a red line that shows here. So we'll be wrapping that to protect not just the BVW over here on the left side, but also a little bit over here against our neighbor, because we're also doing some filling in there. The site is going to be served by municipal water. We'll have a water service coming in off of Chestnut Street, and the apartment complex to the north, which the owner, it's not the same as this land now because the applicant hasn't bought it yet, but it's affiliated. They have a sewer. They're connected to the town sewer through the Ahern School. So this building will be on sewer. It's not going to be a septic system. So you can kind of see it on the red there. This is will be a pump station, and it'll be pumping up to a sewer manhole located right here, which then goes over to the Ahern School, which gets pumped again up to Pleasant Street. I think it pumps up to Pleasant Street, across the YMCA and up to Pleasant Street there. We've given you a construction sequence on the project within the notice. What we want to do there is we want to cut down the trees, but not stump. And then once the trees are cut down, we can come in and install the erosion control. Then we would stump and grub the area, bring the site to subgrade, construction of the home itself, construction of utilities, and then finally landscaping, paved driveway, and then the final landscaping. And that concludes my presentation.
Quick question. It's not our issue, but why 2 water mains coming in?
Water Department wants 2, because there's a duplex, so they want 2 services. It used to be you could split it inside the building or have one if it was a condo, but now they want 2. So,
Very interesting.
yeah.
Questions, comments from the board?
We've marked this out. I don't know if anybody had a chance to go out there, but we marked out the building, and we marked out the limit of the silt sock. And I think we had sent that to Nadia Wednesday afternoon at like 3:10. So I don't think it got forwarded to the commission. I
No.
apologize.
I know Catherine and I were out, so. Any other comments from the board? Catherine, you want to, you all set with it?
Yeah, from what I saw, it looked pretty good. It took me a long time to even find the wetlands back there. It was a lot further than I was expecting it to be, so that's good, I guess.
Any questions, comments from the audience? Hear none? So make the motion? Do it. Okay.
Motion for NOI for, this is 147 Chestnut Street, DEP 157-658.
You have to close the hearing first.
Oh, we gotta
Close it first.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing for 147 Chestnut Street, DEP 157-658.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? All right.
Propose NOI for 147 Chestnut Street, DEP 157-658.
You mean an order of conditions?
Yes. It means,
Oh, order of conditions. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing.
Monday.
we had,
Second.
okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It will be forthcoming. I don't know who will be writing it. I will not be writing them.
Okay,
So we will get that for you
sure. Thank you very much. Good night.
tonight.
Yeah, Bill.
Being 7:10, we have a continuation of DEP 157-657, the MBTA. This is for the installation of platforms at this station.
All set.
Go ahead.
Set. Thank you. Just for the record, Scott Morrison from VHB. Here with me tonight is Tess Pagnelli from MBTA and Maria from my office. Also online is Brittany Gessner, the project engineer. First of all, I wanted to thank the commission. I know we get a lot of commission members that came out for the site walk. I know we've all got busy schedules, so we really appreciate the commission taking the time and coming out and seeing that with us. Since we met last time, there was really 2 plan changes. The commission asked that we put together a landscape plan showing stabilization, post-construction for permanent structures. And then you also asked for the eastern side of the tracks, when that platforms were moved, you wanted us to propose restoration of that. So we provided plans that show the details and specifications for all those restoration activities. I think the only last item that we included was we've been able to pull all the work with the minor exception of 2 very small areas that are already currently either maintain lawn or gravel or kind of a combination of the both. All works outside your 25-foot setback, even though this was filed only under the Wetlands Protection Act, because it's an MBTA project and not subject to local regulations. So that's a pretty good summary. I can kind of turn it over to Tess if you'd like to kind of go through and summarize. And
Yeah, no, we just wanted to make sure, we want to say thank you again, for your
Could you
attention on this.
use the, yeah,
Is that better?
Bring it closer.
bring it closer to you. I'm getting a wave from the back room.
I don't have much to add. Scott really said it all. I just wanted to thank you for your attention. And, we heard earlier today that you may be having some administrative changes. So we are looking for an expedited issuance of this permit, but happy to provide help in that matter. We do that for towns often. So if that can be helpful administratively, please let us know. But that was all. I just want to say thank you again.
Yeah. I did get the plans and from, 101 to 106, you show very well the restoration, the plantings. So I'm happy with them.
Take your word for it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I looked at those plans, so.
okay. So anything else from the board? Do we have anything from the audience? Any questions, comments?
Yes, I do. This is opposed to like the abstract lane.
You need to go up to
Yeah.
the
So
microphone.
it's just being televised and
sit
recorded.
here if you like.
There's a mic up here. Oh, okay.
I don't know if that one works. Does that one work?
Where do you want me to go?
You
Yeah,
can.
that's
I've seen
fine.
it
All
there.
right, she said that's fine. You
Okay.
go- Either one. Sometimes that one doesn't.
So I believe this is, the egress is Ashcroft Lane as an outlet for this?
You need
Yes.
your name and
Temporary.
address, please.
What's that?
Name and address.
Oh,
for
Jason
the-
LaPose, 3 Ashcroft Lane. So they're using Ashcroft Lane as an egress out, is a private way. How are we allowing that? For them to use that?
I'd be happy to answer that. So Ashcroft Lane, I guess I've had conversations, there's essentially 2 issues. One, Ashcroft Lane, like people consider Ashcroft Lane the paved section, and then there's an adjacent kind of a gravel access road.
Service road.
So the service road is what's going to be used for construction to access the area. Part of the project includes a anti-cut fence because people are currently cutting the chain link fence and crossing the railroad tracks. To prevent that from happening, they're installing an anti-cut fence so that people won't be able to go down there, cross the tracks, and access the stadium property. The other thing to keep in mind is that for the period that this temporary station's in place for the World Cup, there will be people, MBTA employees managing it, and the only way that anybody would exit through what we're considering Ashcroft Lane would be in an emergency. So unless there's an emergency, an unforeseen situation, nobody will be able to leave and go down that access road.
Okay, it's literally fenced off, so you'd have to take apart the fence to do that. Ashcroft Lane is fenced off from what you're considering. The service road is not, it's not Ashcroft, it's the service road, it's called the service road. Ashcroft Lane comes in like this, and there's a fence right there, so there's no way to use that as an emergency.
We're proposing tying into the service road for emergency egress only.
Okay, I didn't think that was legal, but okay. What is, now, this is a temporary thing for when the World Cup is happening, so afterwards it just goes back to nothing?
All the equipment, the platforms on the eastern side of the railroad tracks will all be removed, and part of the application that we just submitted, or not just submitted, but submitted in the last week and a half or so, is a mitigation plan to propose restoration of all those areas that are disturbed.
So just for the World Cup, pedestrians can walk through, but not afterwards.
No.
No.
Pedestrians can't walk down Ashcroft Lane or the service road. It'll be fenced. So the only way people will be able to enter that area would be if there was an emergency at the station, and people leaving the station would leave near the pump station, the pump house at the end of the Ashcroft service road. But no pedestrians will be able to go from anywhere from North Street down and be able to go beyond the fence, beyond the railroad tracks.
Okay. That doesn't make much sense, but okay.
And day to day, it's not, the connection isn't intended to be an entrance. It's for emergency egress only, so that in case of a fire or other emergency event, people can egress safely from the station. It's not intended to be a new entrance for daily or event use. There's gonna be some sort of gate in the fence, details TBD, but it's not gonna be an open area, and the fence is gonna be upgraded so that at least the fence on the right-of-way can't be cut, and folks can't just use it ad hoc.
Okay. I think I understand it. When will the plans be available? TBD. When will the rest, so we can see like the gate and stuff, because I'm curious how it's gonna work and how it.
There's a gate on the plans now. I think exact specs of the gate are still in the works, but the gate location is on there.
You know, okay. I'll take a look at this later.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And I can give you my card if you want to follow up, if there's any
I'd
questions.
like that. I'd like that. Yes.
But we don't plan to have construction vehicles on that pedestrian side. I mean, not the residential side of Ashcroft Lane.
Okay.
It just all appears as Ashcroft Lane on the.
Yeah.
I know, we try
On the
to, that's why
parcel,
we're trying to clear that up now,
Yeah.
where it's not.
Where there's, yeah.
We
where
can't
that
even get a
gate is.
pothole filled by the town, never mind make a whole new road, you know, so it's just concerning.
And the fence will say after World Cup, the fence is a permanent.
Permanent barrier that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you will be using the service road for construction purposes, so there will be
Service road, yes.
construction dump trucks and
Yep.
small excavators going and using that and hauling the material out, and then bringing in the new material to make the temporary
Yes.
accessible and safe.
Yep.
So yes, it will be construction
No,
equipment
I
on
understand that part of it, that's, I was just clearing up, the way it read in the paper was Ashcroft Lane, not Service Road, so that's why I'm trying to clear this up. So,
Yeah, great comment, and we can make that clear.
all right. That's it, thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the audience?
Yeah. Bob Capisi, 2 Ashcroft Lane. I have a question. I didn't look at the plans, but how long is this fence going to go both ways on this side? I know what the fence is now. I know people cut inside that. I mean, how far is it going to go?
Okay, just to keep law and order here, I get the questions, okay? From my understanding, it's going to replace the existing chain link fence. It's going to be a little bit closer to Ashcroft, North Street for a portion of it, but it's going to be the full length of the existing. And now, are you taking it beyond the existing or just to the existing? You were going to tie it in exactly where the old chain link in that area.
Yes, so I believe the limits now are, it's under 2,000 feet of new fence, and then it ties back into the existing chain link fence.
Yeah, because it doesn't go that far, really. This way.
Yeah, because you get the
okay.
terminal.
The only thing I'd like to say too, I mean, after 20 years, yeah, the station became a full-fledged station. The Otis went in there. I talked to him, oh, we gotta put up a fence to cover, you know, every liability. But it's been there for so long, the stadium, the new one. I would just say the MBTA, consider a pedestrian for the people, because you don't know how many people go from there. And Kraft isn't losing revenue. It's a very convenient situation for the town residents. That's all I say. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I've talked to a few people over the weekend, especially about this, and the question was, once the trains are in, would it be possible to open the gates to allow pedestrians to go through and then close the gate for the event when the trains leave? Going back a number of years, the trains used to leave about a half an hour after the event was over. Then, after the trains were out of the station, if the gates could be opened again under controlled access. A number of people have spoken to me about, is that a possibility? Because these are not, as he said, these are season ticket holders. They've been using it for years, and it's not like people are trying to sneak in the back door or anything like that.
No, I think there are some discussions on how to make that safe. Right now, it's a safety concern, right? We just can't have unfettered pedestrian crossing across.
Well, it wouldn't be
tracks.
unfettered. It would be controlled, because you could control the gate for maybe a half an hour. I don't know if that would be enough time to get everyone through.
Just during the events.
Just,
I think it's something that we're talking about. It's not something I can really comment on at this time, but it is something that we're having discussions on.
okay, and how, I guess you're having discussion, but how are residents going to have any input on that, or?
I really can't, we're here for a wetland permit. I really
Yeah,
can't
I
comment on that
understand, yes.
at this time.
And I understand this is beyond the conservation issue, but since this is the only public forum for this hearing, normally I would say send it off to planning board or somebody, but I did feel it was important for the citizens to have some kind of input at this time.
Yes, no, I would say we definitely are aware of the interest from the community, for sure. So it's something that we're looking at from a feasibility perspective.
And how would the public be notified or of any decisions on that?
I can talk, we have a public affairs group, and I can talk to them about what that would look like. I imagine it'd be a press conference, or I don't really know how that conversation would happen.
Okay.
I'd like to say one more thing.
Please use the mic.
Yeah,
Okay.
this analogy I thought of this afternoon, but I don't know how this was done. Bid, PR, I know you know me, we're gonna do this event here. But this is like booking a wedding event, and you sign the contract. And then all of a sudden, we have to build another addition for this venue to accommodate the people. That's what this is like. So people are bending over to accommodate the World Cup after the fact that the contract was signed. Thank you.
Interesting.
If you don't mind, I'd like to get your contact information just so I can follow up on this issue.
Absolutely. I can hand you my card, for sure.
Anything else?
Yeah. Again, there's got to be a meeting, pre-construction type meeting. I would say probably one or two, or one of us at least, should represent and be there to listen and see who your contractor is at. Also, we would like to have an idea of a timeline and what is going to be done first, then the next, like just the previous hearing we had for that duplex, that there's a timeline here because everything's going to be rushed. We know that. We also have to have a timeline, for the restoration because you're in the middle of the summer and you're going to try to grow things. And if you're having a dry summer, you're going to be out there watering it. Have a pump down by the river and, just out there.
No, you can't pump by the river, David, you know that.
I'll be out there with my watering cans. No, we would be targeting a fall planting. We would take that into account for sure.
Okay. So if you're going to do a fall planting, you're going to cover over with the loom or material over the areas?
If we can,
Because it ends in beginning of July, right? The World Cup?
for the restoration of the farm.
Yeah, it's like
Yes.
this time next year.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could be right in the smack in a, real hot, dry area
Yeah, but I think the
Time-wise.
plan would be to get it done before this, so get it done either this fall, and we can get it seeded, or in the spring, and then get it seeded, so that everything's fully stabilized and operational at this time or
I
earlier.
think the restoration, once we pull
Once you
everything out.
finish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'd
I
probably.
guess that
target
could be
fall.
the fall of next year, of '26.
Okay. Just put that down as a follow-up with your restoration,
Sure.
your work plan and the restoration, and it just add some timelines to it.
Yes, and we'd be ensuring that that was all, had, a successful growth before we came in for a certificate of compliance, anyway. Sorry, closer. I was just saying, we'd make sure that any restoration plantings had good success before we came in for a certificate of compliance.
Thank you.
Do we need to take them on their offer and help them to write this up so that we get it done, or do we have someone that's gonna write this up for them?
Oh, Catherine's going to write the,
Is she?
we'll get the order.
We're seeking a temporary relationship again to have a conservation professional assist us. Hopefully, we'll get something sorted out very
There
soon.
yet, though. We're not there yet.
Not there quite yet, but we're hoping to meet with him next
We're
week.
having-
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, if it's helpful, we'd be more than willing to kind of help out and kind of give you the pieces and kind of fill in the blanks of the application, the order conditions. Just, obviously, it's, you need to review it and sign it. But
Yes.
if you need any assistance to try and expedite this, we'd be happy to help out.
Sure.
We appreciate that. Any other final comments, Catherine?
Not from me. We will follow up with a pre-construction meeting. We don't have an established process when things only come through conservation typically, but we can make sure that it's included. And we will require the timelines for the restoration portion of the project, and I'll make sure to get your contact to follow up on the pedestrian access.
All right, with that, somebody want to make a motion to close the hearing?
Which one is it?
Off Patriot Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it now. All right. I'll make a motion to close the hearing of off Patriot Place, DEP 157-657.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right?
Opposed? None? So we'll make a motion to issue us order of conditions.
Make a motion to issue an order of conditions when available, per our current conservation agent situation for DEP 157657.
With the conditions as discussed.
With the conditions as discussed.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Rolls.
We have a restoration plan for 17 Spring Street.
Would it be all right if I share my screen to?
Sure.
Here. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lauren Gluck from Par Corporation, and I'm here representing Stephanie Ward from 17 Spring Street to discuss a proposed restoration plan on her property. So Stephanie's been before you a couple of times at this point, so you're likely familiar with the issues she was having with the drainage at the bottom of her driveway. This plan here shows the layout of Stephanie's property. She was having quite an issue with flooding at the bottom of her driveway, which slopes pretty steeply down from Spring Street. where there was water just pooling at the bottom, almost going into her garage and flooding that. She initially hired some landscapers to help create a solution to that drainage by creating a trench down through a pre-existing walking path, which leads down through her wooded area into a wetland, with the intent of installing a pipe drain there to create a drainage similar to what had previously existed. There was a pre-existing drain that I believe it was piped down to the rear portion of the property, just in a different alignment to the same wetland complex, but she was planning on utilizing there was an existing cleared footpath that had been there for many years. She received a notice of violation from the Concom. That path is within their jurisdiction. It's within buffer zone and no disturb zone and goes right down to a sensitive wetland resource area, and was told she needed a restoration plan along with a wetland delineation to determine what the resource areas are, where their buffers are on the property. So then this spring, I went out, and on the plan here, you can see two lines. This line over here, this is the edge of perennial stream running north to south along the eastern property boundary, which has a 200-foot riverfront area out here. And then over here, it's the A-series flags that define the edge of a bordering vegetated wetland, which is also a potential vernal pool. Stephanie has heard frogs out there before, and we're pretty sure it's likely a certifiable vernal pool. So we have the 100-foot buffer zone. In addition, there is a 100-foot vernal pool buffer zone that excludes landscaped areas under the bylaw. And then additionally, there's a 25-foot, it's not shown on this plan, but I believe it is shown on our restoration plan, which I'll pull up shortly, a 25-foot no activity zone under the bylaw. So after the notice of violation was received, the area where the trench was restored back to its pre-existing grades and just kind of backfilled. When I was out there, it was early April, and you could still see some evidence of ground disturbance, but things were starting to come in. I actually was out there this afternoon, and you almost can't see the ground. Everything's growing in quite nicely, actually. There's a lot of ground cover vegetation and some shrubs coming back in there. Following that, the backfilling of this area, Stephanie had her landscapers create an alternative drainage solution, which was a trench drain with a kind of gravel basin-like structure along a pre-existing landscaped area next to the driveway. So that area is doing a great job at catching the runoff, and now it's kind of infiltrating right into the ground. The new structure does encroach slightly into the 100-foot buffer zone. It just barely clips it. It's in the outer 100 feet of the riverfront area here. And it was a pre-existing landscaped area. There were no trees cleared as part of that. It was maintained regularly. So now I'll pull up what we're proposing to do. So this is the proposed restoration plan. We understand that this work was a violation of the WPA and the bylaw. There was some degree of ground disturbance and some degree of minor vegetation disturbance, no tree clearing, but we do understand the need to restabilize those areas, especially next to a sensitive wetland. So what we have here is a proposed restoration plan. In green hatch, this is the surveyed outline of the apparent area of disturbance. So Bay Colony went out and they surveyed where it appeared there was any ground disturbing activity surrounding both that new gravel drainage basin and the previously trenched area along the trail. So that's outlined in red here. So in green, we just have proposed seed mix. So we would restore any exposed areas of soil with a conservation and wildlife seed mix just to stabilize those areas and add species diversity. And then down in the lower 25 feet of the buffer zone here, we're proposing 6 new native shrub plantings. This area here, it's like the rest of it, it's pretty well vegetated, but there's a couple little areas of exposed soil, and we think adding those plantings there would really help stabilize that and prevent any future sedimentation into that wetland area. So that sums up what we're proposing for restoration. And we're hoping the conservation will allow this to proceed without any formal filings. I think this restoration plan will provide an overall increase in species diversity out there. And then this work that she's done up here that clips into the buffer zone and is in the outer 100 feet. In the report I provided, I stated why I believe that to be an exempt activity not requiring a filing. So I'm hoping you'll concur with that determination.
Did they dig up the pipe that was run all the way to the wetlands?
They never succeeded in putting in the pipe. They had just started trenching when they
So
were
they just
stopped.
backfilled the trench?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and the old pipe was somewhere, believed to be somewhere out in the
The old
in the
pipe is probably
woods,
still there somewhere.
just not functioning at all, clearly. And there was a pre-existing footpath leading down here, and Stephanie's hoping to continue to use that, so that's why we have the little cleared path in the middle, just
There were ducks using it tonight. A mother duck and her little ducklings crossed the street and went down the path, so they still like the path.
there's a lot of wildlife out there. It's a beautiful sight.
So you replaced it with the trench, with the stone, whatnot?
There's nothing except the
to
dirt
the-
back.
It's just backfilled, and I
Yeah.
can pull up some photos, actually.
No, the spot beside the driveway, is that all now stone-filled you're using for the drainage?
Yes,
This white,
that's working.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it looks like, it's this first photo here, so there's a trench drain along the pavement, and then this area, it was formerly
Okay.
lawn, is
Yeah,
now gravel, and it's doing a great job, especially after the rain we just had. I was out there, and it's,
yeah, it's
It's-
containing it. The drain is just into the gravel bed. That's all. It doesn't have any pipe attached to it.
yeah. And this is it, this is when I was out there in early April, so there is, see, you can see the surrounding ground disturbance, but actually, when I was just out there early, oh, that's not the right, I'm sorry, that's not the right site. Nope, I'm sorry. I gotta find the right, oh, it was in an email. I was just out there, so.
You've got it.
Here we go. Okay, so you can see, oh, there's quite a bit of vegetation coming in. It's quite a contrast from just, a month ago. A lot of this is smartweed. There's some grasses coming in. So it's quite stable already. I'm a little concerned getting the seed mix in there. Is there going to be anywhere for it to grow? But I think there's always room for a little enhancement. This is that path, the walking path looking up toward my car that's in the driveway. So you can see it's got quite a good amount of ground cover. And then this is that lower end in the 25-foot no disturb. There's a wetland flag there. So you'll see it's a little more exposed here, and this is where we're putting the plantings. So it's grown in quite a bit in the last, just the last month.
So those aren't invasives?
There's a few invasives mixed in, so there was a few sprouts of knotweed, and we did say in our restoration plan that if that's encountered, to pull it out, and I instructed Stephanie how to identify it. She's familiar with it. And that if it continues to persist, you can treat it with herbicide, but hopefully we don't have to go that route, because right now it's only a few. But, there's a little bittersweet here and there. There was a lot of invasives there to begin with. If you look back in the woods, there's, barberry in the understory and, but nothing too dense. It's just looking down into the path. And then back to the photos of this is just how it looked before in April, so it was pretty exposed. Looking down toward the wetland. This is the wetland itself, so it's kind of a classic vernal pool. And then that's the river running
That's on,
along
yeah,
the east
on the
side.
side, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's a Foxborough municipal land.
Hmm?
It's Foxborough municipal land. The land behind her lot is conservation land. The other land is, to the town, was going to have proposed sewage beds out there a long time ago.
Oh, okay. That was a long time ago.
Yep.
When Elm Street was still open. Catherine and I were out last week. As you say, it's really growing in.
Yeah.
If you're going to put in seed mix, then you get it in quick. But
Well, it's getting
I'm
a
not
little
even
to the
sure,
dry period
yeah.
of the year now, so
Yeah.
I don't know if we should wait till the fall.
Yeah, I would personally, the way it's growing in now, maybe with the exception of that area close to the vernal pool, or do a couple plantings in there. But I don't think the seed mix right now will take.
Yeah, I agree. There's not much space for it. But I think, yeah, the plantings will definitely help stabilize.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would it be acceptable, acceptable to do those at the beginning of the fall, given that we're kind of toward the end of the planting window?
Yeah.
We don't want them to, you know.
Yeah. Just do a follow-up in the fall and see how it looks.
Okay, do a
And
follow-up in the fall before.
Just give us a quick report,
Okay,
okay?
okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
And pay attention to them, because that place is loaded with deer. You know, they
Oh,
might
it sure
come
is.
along, and just chew them off,
Yeah.
besides others eating the bark down below. So just pay attention, you might have to replant again, or find a way of protecting them so they get big enough.
Or pick something they don't like.
Yeah, that's
That's about
true.
the only solution back there. is
Yeah,
they-
maybe we could.
They're
yeah.
pretty good at
I think we
taking what
called
they
for
like. Yeah.
Blueberry, which I know they tend to like blueberry, right? So maybe we could find a substitute if
Okay.
you have a deer problem, yeah.
Any other final comments, Catherine, or,
No?
okay?
I have a question. She had sent in something to the DEP for an NOI, which got rejected, but she's now on the list. So how do I rectify that? Anybody know?
It was never withdrawn?
No, she tried to apply for it on her own with,
Okay,
like, basically just the application, and the guy from DEP called me up and said it's not acceptable, he was gonna send her a letter.
I can reach out and see if we can just withdraw it and say it was, you know, filed on accident or that we changed our
With-
plan.
With no expertise.
Right, I'll reach out to them and pull it up. Hopefully they'll pull it down.
All right, good.
One of our requirements is to post the 25-foot no disturb zone with a sign on posts a few feet off the ground. And you got two areas that are on this property that should have some of those postings. Bill knows what it is. He's provided quite a few post signs.
Okay. So you're talking about doing a post sign along the 25 feet of the wetland and along
Yes,
the river?
just
Would
on her property, though.
Would it be just one along each of the resource areas?
You have a couple down there for the vernal pool area of the,
But there's
That
only
wetland
one
area.
pass. There's only one pass getting to the vernal pool.
I know, but you should be at least a couple.
It's a pretty small stretch of wetland edge there.
Yeah,
And then over here, the tree line really corresponds to the lawn in this, for the most part. So she would need to put a permanent sign there, you're saying, over there too?
yeah, one should be fine over there. I think one in each location would work.
Okay. I can talk to, so you said Bill's done a lot of them, I can talk
Yeah,
to him
Bill
and see
Buckley, yeah.
like, how he goes about that, and then, yeah, so it's a permanent boundary marker that would say, what, 25-foot, no
Yeah, it's-
wetland
it
zone or
just-
something?
yeah.
Post,
Okay.
Yeah.
I can talk to him about that.
Is that something that goes on everybody's property when they're near a wetland?
We try to. We try to, as long as we remember to do it during the hearing, a meeting or with that, as part of the conditions. Because if the person conveys the property to someone else that they don't know anything about what they own,
Well, that's what
At
happened to me.
Happens to a lot of people,
yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
so.
okay. All right, well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
We'll follow up in the fall, and
Do we have to approve the restoration plan?
Yeah, it would be,
Something for the record, because she
Yeah,
came in and
something for-
submitted
yes, yes.
Submitted it.
so would you like to make that recommendation, Mr.?
You had to ask.
Yeah.
You brought it up.
Just,
I move that we accept the restoration plan proposed, the impact assessment and buffer restoration plan for 17 Spring Street, and the proposed restoration of the area that was disturbed, and there was another word in here that she used. And also what was to be done, located on page 6 of the power report. And that no notice of intent will be required for the restoration of this
Thank you.
violation.
I second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have a request for a certificate of compliance for 6 Water Street, DEP file 157643. Again,
Rich Leslie with Bay Colony Group.
wait till you sit down so you get to the mic.
Rich Leslie with Bay Colony Group, representing Dave Forensic with the certificate of compliance for 6 Water Street. I've been out there. I just missed yourself and Catherine by about 10 minutes last Thursday.
Okay.
And you've seen the site too. He actually did an outstanding job. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah.
The barn went exactly where it's supposed to go, so I didn't find any, it's certainly substantially in accordance with the plan.
Okay. So do we have that, Diana? Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for the certificate of compliance for 6 Water Street, DEP 157-643.
I second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You want to do anything on that?
Okay. Do you want to read it, or?
I can,
Okay,
not gonna, yeah.
all right. I saw it, and,
The NRCC is, did you see the NRCC's?
yes, yeah, actually, I've got a copy of it. It could be I've got another great-grandchild, so. What? Okay, Rich, you wanna?
Okay. We had, our last meeting, we had a Foxborough student give a presentation on the need for a boat launch at Neponset Reservoir. Subsequent to that, there was a letter to the editor in the Foxborough Reporter, which had a number, the letter was endorsing the need for a boat ramp, which I think we all agree with. This is all coming from the fact that Heaton's is soon to be sold, probably at the beginning or end of next year, and no more access will be allowed for launching boats from that site. So once that's gone, there's no public access to the Neponset Reservoir. And that is an issue. We are aware of it. There is limited spots that, if any, that we can actually use for public access. But we did want to note that there were some discrepancies in the letter to the editor. In particular, they talk about taxpayer funds to do the Edwards Road boat ramp and the jellyfish. All of that, all of the funds came from the NRC, which is a private nonprofit organization in charge of the water quality for the Neponset Reservoir. We did have some assistance, so the NRCC had some assistance from the town in doing trees and some other boulder movements and other minor issues associated with it. But to that extent, that was the only involvement that the town had as far as contributing funds to this. It talks about also money, maybe money raised from permits could be used to install filtration systems in surrounding neighborhoods and contribute to pollutants like. This jellyfish it wasn't the first one that we've done in the town, and it was an experimental thing, and we're hoping to use it. I believe the town has adopted it and wants to try and continue to use it in other spots within the town. And I think that's about it. The Lane property, they talk about using it. It's just, they do have some sections in the Lane property that could launch boats, but none of them are accessible by the road to allow for people to freely come and go as they will. So it is an issue, but right now there's not much of a solution. The Edwards boat ramp, while people have launched boats there, is not deep enough to maintain a constant boat launch, because it will just dig up all the soils, and that's the last thing we want to do in the Ponset Reservoir. So that's why that is not used. It is used by the Foxborough Fire and Police for emergency purposes, but they can get right over the boulders.
Okay, and I agree, it's much too shallow there, as I pointed out to the young lady at the time. And so it would be nice if there was an area that could be built up on the reservoir somewhere, but it's difficult.
Yeah, it doesn't exist right now. And the NRCC is issuing a letter of their own relative to the inaccuracies related to their organization,
Okay.
to the Foxborough Board of Health.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Anything else?
I just have one item, a very quick update from Kevin Davis, our town engineer. He went out to the tree tech site today and saw that all the trees have been moved from that area, so the next step is redelineating that wetland and marking it very clearly and erecting a physical barrier to make sure that trees are not pushed into that buffer zone again.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that.
Which area?
This is the landfill area Tree Tech operates, and they have like a lot of,
Yeah.
Disposal
Yeah.
area.
yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
know.
sorry. Yeah. So they have like a lot of
well, I know.
large-scale logs pushed back
We know
there.
that. They seem to creep.
Yes.
Well, the logs are out now, so. Okay, anything else?
Someone also called today about 56 Spring Street. A new homeowner cut trees. There's a
Oh.
stream.
Yes.
So I sent Bob out there.
Yeah, they're cutting, but only in their backyard. They're not going towards the riverside. So they're good. They're high and dry.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Actually, for the next meeting, 16 Garrett's Plain, Ryan Jordan, I believe his name is, he's coming back for his one-year update on his plantings and his
Restoration.
shed and whatever else he did
Restoration,
out
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay, good. Nothing?
I had one other thing.
Okay,
The 400 Foxborough Boulevard behind Jake's, someone had reported that there was conservation land that was cleared there.
yeah,
I went back there. There are the posts with conservation land on it. But literally the strip of land that runs behind the buildings is maybe 15 feet long, wide, and runs the length of the building, which is maybe 100, 200 feet. Doesn't look like conservation land, but
It was, when that was built, there was a, supposedly some kind of a caterpillar, so they did the natural heritage. And then they monitored it for 2 years, they never found this caterpillar, so I think it got dropped. Because if you look at the natural heritage maps, it's not on it.
oh, okay.
it's not our conservation land. It was conservation for the butterfly.
For the butterfly, it was supposed to be habitat for this butterfly that
No
nobody ever
habitat
found.
there now, so
Yeah.
if he was there, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Bill Buckley
Yeah, it-
had the,
It didn't look like much of, maybe just a little buffer zone or.
yeah, he did the, the restoration, or whatever it was, the monitoring plan, and he said that they spent money for 2 or 3 years
Never
about
found
this
one.
and never found it, so.
And the DEP's looking into it as well, because I think it falls into their list rather than ours, and we've already received a call from them. So people are looking into it just to make sure that no loose ends are left dangling.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not town conservation land, it was natural heritage, which is issued by the state, not us.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, anything else?
Do every day, okay.
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to close the
How about
hearing?
adjourn?
Huh?
How about adjourn?
Adjourn the meeting.
Adjourn, oh, to, make a motion to adjourn the hearing.
I second the motion.
Discussion, all in
I knew
favor?
I'd get it wrong. Thanks, Bob.
That's it.
Anybody opposed? So be it.
You
Adjourned.
can run these things by.
Thank you very much.
John started Spring Street.